Hello, my love, and welcome to today's video. I'm so excited to be talking about self-esteem, self-worth, and not putting up with the bare minimum anymore because that's not what we're here for. But more importantly, let's talk about how you get to conserve your energy instead of draining yours and giving it all to another person or a few people, okay? Or other things, in fact. So, the reason why we're going to talk about this is because you might be feeling drained or you might be feeling like you have been giving so much of you onto others. And the thing is, when you have a crush on someone, or when you want to focus so much of your energy on someone because you're dating them, because you're highly interested in them, because a part of their personality really struck a shine on you, and you're just like, I can't stop thinking about them, blah 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 blah. Okay, well, this is when it becomes an issue. And it's not an issue necessarily because you like that person. It's not an issue necessarily because you are interested in someone else. It's not that. The issue becomes an issue when you stop paying that much attention to yourself and start placing all of the energy onto someone else. So that is when the issue becomes an issue. If it wasn't like that, it wouldn't be an issue. But because it's like that, and when it becomes like that, it's a huge problem because your energy gets drained and the entire space in your brain, all of it is literally being poured onto somebody else for absolutely no reason. Okay? So we're all about giving, right? We're all about caring about others, nurturing others, thinking about others. Yes, of course. But that doesn't mean you get to pour and drain your energy for what? Because then your cup becomes empty. Then your like this becomes completely drained, right? Because you're pouring so much into someone else's cup. And then all of a sudden your cup is empty and you wonder, where is your energy? Why are you becoming obsessed with somebody else? Why are you constantly thinking, why aren't they texting back? Are they thinking about me? Do they even like me? And you're going onto their profile, checking their business when it's actually not your business at all. Okay, it's not your business at all to begin with. And it's like from a place of love, like you shouldn't be going around checking people's profiles to see what they're doing or who they're following and things like this. Fair enough, like for the basics, if you want to see, like, okay, for example, if you're interested in a guy, right? And you want to see, okay, are they the kind of guy, the kind of man who just constantly follows like a lot of kind of half, like basically naked women, then of course you would go and do that basic check of like, are they a kind of decent human being that makes sense for me to date? But you won't be going around checking, oh, did they follow a new person? They did a This behavior is obsessive. It drains your energy, obviously, and it just means that instead of focusing on all of that energy, all of that love, all of that nourishment onto yourself, you're focusing on unhealthy habits that you bring in from your past or that for some reason you've developed because you think they're actually going to make a difference. When if somebody behaves that way, it's because they want to behave that way, full stop. And you saying, I don't like this, I don't like that, isn't going to change the way they show up. So why would you try to change that specific person or those specific people? So that means, okay, how do you change that? Well, actually, adjust your behaviors because at the end of the day, you're not trying to control someone else. You're trying to adjust how you show up and what you're doing that is sabotaging you, right? Why would you go around in circles wrecking your own head? There's no reason to. So that means why would you keep doing something that keeps on hurting you, right? Why would you continue the paranoia, the kind of obsession, the addiction to another person? So maybe a little check-in helps with this and get really real with yourself and write down, okay, what is it that I'm doing that is not bringing me anywhere, that is just keeping me stuck in this loop with people who are not even interested in me, with this guy who's not even interested in me. So don't do that to yourself, right? Um, pour, make the decision, make the firm decision today that, hey, like, I'm not going to do that to myself anymore, full stop. Now, one of the things that you can do is note down the behaviors that are keeping you in the same loop, in the same cycle, in the same circle that are making you feel super, super crap about yourself. Because, of course, girly, like, you'll be surprised at the amount of girlies that do this. So let's try to change it to make yourself feel better, right? So note down the things that you're doing that you know are obviously not good to be doing because they don't feel good for you. Note them down. What are the habits that you're doing? Are you checking his profile? Are you checking like, are you wondering like who is he with? Does he like all of these thoughts? Okay, note them down. Literally cutting down on your bullshit. Step in, like putting your foot down and saying, I'm not dealing with this behavior. Because the version of you that trusts herself, that trusts herself enough to attract somebody that actually likes her, would not be doing those things. So the version of you who already has what she wants, who already is happy and fulfilled in her life, is she doing that? Is she going around checking men's profiles? Is she going around checking whether someone has texted back, hello, let's not drop the laptop again. hmm So for example, okay, if I was to note down one of my toxic traits, I would say, okay, I literally let my phone fall, or my laptop, in fact, less, but I let my phone fall every day. Okay? I do. Like whether it's off the bed, off my hand, out of my hand, da da da. Do I care? Not really. So obviously don't note down the things that are like behaviors that aren't actually damaging anything, right? However, if I was, for example, drinking alcohol like 3 days a week and I knew it was making me feel crap, I would obviously write that down. In this case, we're talking about how you show up with men and why you keep attracting the same type of man. Hello. So in this case, you're writing down what is it that keeps me away from the dream situation, right? The ideal situation that I want. So note it down because the girly who is doing those, who has those unhealthy behaviors or those unhealthy habits, is not the girly who's actually happy and fulfilled in her life, as we mentioned. So we're here to help, right? We're not here to judge. So the first thing that you're going to do is obviously awareness. So hello, this is awareness. You're writing these things down. The second thing is obviously promising yourself that you're not going to do it anymore. Now, if you catch yourself doing it, what do? You find a replacement. So find there, it's always easier to let go of that kind of habit when you already have something that you're going to insert, right? Because the mind obviously doesn't like the idea of getting rid of something, right? So for example, if you say, oh, I'm going to lose weight, well, the mind, hello, it doesn't like it already. Why? Because you're already saying the word lose. So you find a replacement for that word. So for example, for these habits, we're going to find a replacement. So what can you find? And it's very individual, like it's very personal. So you need to find a word that works for you for letting go of those habits, right? Replacement obviously helps. Why? Because you're actually doing something instead of. So it's not like you're getting rid of that kind of habit, right? So find something that works for you. So for example, anytime, right? If your habit, for example, is to check on this guy's profile or something, or to send one of those fucking icky texts when you're going to say like basically teach a man how to behave, like you're not even in a relationship. So why are you trying to train this guy to show up in a certain way? That's not your job, that's not your business, so stop doing that. You're repelling. Okay, so don't do that. So instead of doing that, for example, if that's your trait, if you go and you're ready to text, send out a big message or like block them out of nowhere for zero reason because they went to a party, I don't know, like I've heard all of these things. So whatever it is, what are you going to do instead of give yourself 24 hours before you actually do it? Because that means that you have 24 hours of space, of break before you actually go ahead and act crazy. So that means that you have time, you have given yourself the space, the time, the breather to do something differently. And you can pick something like, I don't know, it can be self-care, it can be self-nourishment, whatever it is that you want to do. It can be working out, it can be whatever on earth that you like to do that makes you happy instead of going out there. and doing something that you're going to regret at least 48 hours afterwards. Because you know you wouldn't be here clicking on this video if you didn't think that you were doing something that's keeping you away from your ideal situation. So now it's just about accepting and doing something differently, right? Now, call a spade a spade. If it's the case that, for example, a guy is just not interested, I always say this, I'm going to always say the same thing. If somebody's not interested, let them be uninterested, because that gives you the space to find or to attract somebody who actually is. Otherwise, you're going to fight against nothing. It's going to be fire against fire, because if you actually want to have a crush on someone, have a crush, like God. If you actually want to like somebody who doesn't even like you that much, you're signing up for a life of battle against yourself, against your heart space, and against your entire being. Why? Because if somebody doesn't even like you that much, do you really think they're going to put in all of the time, space, and energy that it takes to create a wonderful relationship? Absolutely not. And not to even mention that you deserve, obviously, someone who truly adores you. So why on earth would you put up with anything less than that? And really ask yourself this. Pull yourself out on your BS and ask yourself, why am I interested in men that aren't interested in me enough? Because you know that you're getting the clear signs that somebody doesn't even like you that much, and that they might be playing around, I don't know, like looking everywhere else except for your direction. And then you're making up the fairy tale story of the Disney princess that, well, no, because that's not how it works. Because men aren't these mystical creatures that you don't know what they're thinking or whatever. No. Like, they will show up in the way that they're actually thinking. So if they don't really like you that much, they're not going to show up. If they like you, they're going to show up, and they're going to be certain about their goal and mission with you. And that's it. So if it's not one, it's going to be the other, and full stop. So stop making up fairy tales in your mind and actually go with what you feel, right? Oh, I think, like, no, that's it. Okay, don't make up stories in your mind. But then that involves stopping these unhealthy habits, right? Like, it really does. It's like, okay, I'm going to stop doing these things because I know they're not good for me and they're actually causing me pain. So you need to get to the point where it's actually, that tree scared the life out of me. I was like, what was that? You need to get to the point where it's actually annoying, frustrating, and painful enough for you. So you actually get to that point, like, okay, I'm ready to change, full stop. Like, I'm not allowing this kind of behavior anymore, and that's it. But it's you who needs to get to that point. And if you keep, the thing is, you can also be addicted to complaining, right? So there's this point, you get to this point of like circles, 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 circles. As in, going to your friends, complain about these men, nah, 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 nah. Like, they're all the same. This one did this, and the same thing happened as always. And this, I hear this so much from the ladies. And like, I listen and I empathize, because obviously I'm a lady, I'm going to listen and empathize, but I'm also going to say, hey, like, how about we change something up? Because clearly something's not working. And the thing is, the story that you're telling yourself, that they're all the same, they all treat me like this, and it always ends up happening like this. All of that is leading to one place and one place only, which is, you're going to end up in the same place. You're going the same direction the whole time. And in order to change something, you need to change the story, you need to change how you show up, and something clearly needs to change for good, because otherwise it's literally the whole, like, you could be like this for the rest of your life. And if you really want that, that's fine. If you really want to be the girly complaining about men all the time and really getting treated like crap, that's up to you. But I really don't think that's what you want, because you wouldn't be here if you did. So we need to adjust something so that you can finally get the treatment that you deserve, so that you can be cared for properly, so that you can feel nourished and you can thrive. Like, of course, you can do these things for yourself, but at the moment, actually, the way that you're showing up is sabotaging you. So how can you teach people how to treat you and not accept basically the bare minimum. Where are your boundaries? Where are your limits? How are you communicating from day zero? Okay, I'm only in here for long term, so anything else I'm not interested in, full stop. And don't just say it, show up as that. Don't allow people to just come in and take whatever and then leave. That's not what we're here for. We're not here to have energy vampires around us. Like, why would you do that? Why would you give away your body and your energy and your space for somebody who doesn't even care about you? What is the point? You know? So that's it. It's like your mission should be your objective for the next few weeks should be what limits am I putting up here? What habits am I absolutely not giving attention to anymore? What type of men am I not giving my energy to from now on? What are my rules? What are my little policies? Like, write down your name and like non-negotiables, things like this. And don't just like write it down and then be like, forget about it. No, no. You're going to live and breathe by them because otherwise it just becomes notes. It just becomes a journal. You don't want to just write things down. You don't want to just journal things down. You want to actually show up with them and have the confidence to say, I'm not interested in this. I'm only interested in this. So that's that. If they're not bothered, if they run away, then great, wonderful. Let them run. Let them fucking run as fast as they can so that then you can conserve that energy, pull it back to you, and keep it for somebody who actually deserves that energy, that time, that space, that wonderful heart space that you have so much to give and you're giving it to the wrong people. So stop it because eventually it causes so much pain that you end up drained. And why would you do that? So let's stop draining the energy, the life force that you have been given on this earth. And that's it. Stop giving it away for free. You're allowing people, particularly men in this case, to live rent free, not only in your mind, but in your body, in your heart space. And then you wonder why you're so drained, tired, annoyed at the idea of dating and at the idea of men because you're giving it all away. You're giving yourself away to those who have not earned the right to even be around your energy. So end it now from this video onwards. Like, promise yourself, I am not allowing anybody to take anything from me if they have not earned it, right? Like, assess that for yourself. Become the assessor in your life. Like, who deserves my time and energy? Who deserves my nourishment, my heart space? You know, not just because a man is handsome, not just because he has bought you dinner. No, that's not the way it works. You know how that turns out. That's not the way it works. How does it work? If they have actually earned it, not if they're sweet for a few days, not if they have, you know, giving you compliments for a few days. That's not the way it works. And you know this by now. And if you get a weird feeling at the start, or if you're unsure, then listen to that feeling. You know? Listen to yourself. Your body is way smarter than you think. So take this as a little sign to stop your own BS, draw your boundaries, and listen to yourself. Love yourself, take care of yourself. Love you lots.